professional life, causing confusion. If we agree that leadership at its core is built on authenticity, we would need to change our approach. Today, Toastmaster Gerren Sprauve will help us consider how in his speech titled Being. Here is Toastmaster Gerren Sprauve.
Have you ever seen anyone from Winter Park Toastmasters outside of Winter Park Toastmasters? Yes. For me, sometimes it's confusing. Because while here, like Carmela just said, we are to dress for success. But then if you see them outside, in a casual setting, you kind of wonder, like, who are you? Are you the person that I see on Friday morning, or are you this disheveled individual walking into this pub? Have you ever invited your spouse or significant other to a company party? And you have people run up to you and say things like, "Oh, you're such a great communicator. I love how you..." And you look at your spouse and they're looking at you like, "Huh, I'm a great communicator, huh?" There's a disconnect. In leadership, oftentimes leaders find themselves being one way in their profession and being another way in their personal life. And when those communities intersect, there's confusion. I want you to consider that we ought to adopt this methodology called behave. Be humble, be accountable, be vulnerable. My young daughter, when I'm leaving for work in the morning, she would come to me and she would hug me and she would say, "Be good, Daddy, be good." I'm looking at this kid. I go off, "Yes, honey, I will be good." And I go off to work and I do my thing. I think about an opportunity where a prospective client called me and they asked us to perform a certain job, and I wasn't familiar with the industry. And I was wondering whether or not I should take the job or I should pass on it. But then I remembered that there was an employee of mine who actually works in that industry. They're not in a leadership position, but I thought, herein lies an opportunity for me to help them to grow. Let's put that on the shelf. I remember also an attorney, a collections attorney, who took advantage of me and charged me more. And on the time when I was going to give my last payment to them, it was during COVID, I realized that they didn't have toilet paper. Guess who has toilet paper? In all of these instances, I have an opportunity to behave, to be humble, to be accountable, and to be vulnerable. As you can imagine, at the end of my day, when I come home and I greet my daughter, and we tend to have this thing where we do this together when we meet, she says, "Daddy, did you behave?" She's 8 years old. So I take her into my office and I sit her down and I said, "Well, honey, here's how my date went." And I would lay it out to her and stress to her, "Well, Daddy wanted to do X. I was under a lot of pressure and this is what I wanted to do. This is a trigger, honey. You know what a trigger is?" And as I'm speaking to her, I'm taking her through my day. And I'm sharing with her what choices I made. I shared with her where I fell short, and I give an account. I am being humble, I'm being accountable, I'm being vulnerable to my 8-year-old daughter. Fast forward to the situation with that prospective client. I reach out to my team member and I say, "Hey, we have an opportunity. I have a challenge. I'm not good in this industry, but I know that you've worked in it. Would you mind coming with me on this walkthrough? And let's walk through together and talk to the client about what we can do and cannot do." You should see their eyes lit up. "You mean you want me to come?" "Yeah. And I'll get to show you what I gotta deal with on a day-to-day basis so that it helps you be more purposeful in your job." "I'd love to do that, Gerren." And as we walked with the client, I introduced the client, to my team member, we come to an accord, and as we're walking along, I start to fade back. And I continue to fade back as my team member walks along with the prospective client and asking questions. And behind, I'm just taking pictures. And I'm just like, check that out. As we walk through the property, I see a man and his wife. She's sitting down, this man is standing up. Maybe it's because of the way that I was dressed. The man looks at me and he's like, you must be the boss, you must be the boss. And the lady says, yeah, you're the boss. And I said, she's the boss. No, you're the boss. And I'm like, she's the boss. Whatever that meant for my team member, whatever that meant for the lady who was sitting there, seeing another woman leading, I don't know. But amidst it all, I am behaving. I'm being humble, I'm being accountable, and I'm being vulnerable. We move forward to that attorney. COVID is around, they're struggling to find the bare essentials, and I have a warehouse full of stuff. Although that individual took advantage of me and charged me double what he was supposed to, I'm coming in to write that check, and I'm bringing cases of toilet paper. Toilet paper. As I walk in the office, I write the check and I said, hey, I understood that you guys didn't have toilet paper, so I brought them for you. You should have seen that attorney's face. It wasn't about me feeling all big and good at the moment. I was being humble, I was being accountable, and I was being vulnerable. Whatever that does within his mind, whatever that does within his administration's mind, the managers, the people who actually make the calls or do the devious acts, I am being who I am. It's much easier to be consistent throughout your life, whether it be in your personal life or your professional life. As opposed to putting on one suit on Friday and putting on some jeans on Thursday. Be who you are. Consistently. Life is easier, it's slower. And people see the leadership qualities in you that they ought to see. I encourage you, as leaders going out in the world today, adopt the behave methodology. Be humble, be accountable, and be vulnerable. Thank you.